while there will probably be leading men and leading women, or however they'll do it, maybe leading members of a throuple, a quipple, or a something, a supple. The rom-com is over. So a lot of times, we think of, say, Gen X period of time, we kind of forget. 10,000 Maniacs. We forget her. We forget where the tribal armband, where tattoo on her arm girl went. Who was that? Because now she's, a mom between about 42 and 50. This was the first, this is that chick, you met way back when she was tending the punk rock cafe, and that was the first time you ever heard of dance codes, because you asked her about her shoes or something like that, and so the rom-com's over now, because you see, during that period of time, everyone can remember what the movies and the music, where we were there, where it was like magic, educated art girl, that she was interesting in her middle class to working class, middle class, but knew a lot of things, was an interesting person. It was so mysterious. There's so many depths to this person's personality, And so the present day of the internet and dating has destroyed the potential for the rom-com, because now we know a lot of that was just us not getting that this was just a relatively normal person, or should have been, with just interests. This person had interests. This person actually was demonstrating what would be an intelligence of that would be pretty standard for, especially like with somebody like the kind of women I would be picking up on and stuff, that the woman who would probably have achieved a bachelor's level of college, Yankee white woman who would have achieved bachelor's level of college. So this wasn't magic pixie, manic girl or whatever. It was just a person, at one time, and now she's an overweight mom. And so it's, and that's the way it goes. We all get older, we all age, that's time, time beats all men. But that was like the last romantic comedy. We can even remember, I think that dude who did romantic comedies, like now he's like crippled or something, like he's all paralyzed in the face or something. I thought I saw, or something, or he got canceled. There was that British guy with the blue eyes, and he was, and he was romantic comedy guy, and and by the time the 90s are coming along and into the 2000s, it's pretty much being understood, like, no, rom-coms suck, like, I only watch them because my girl likes them, I watch them because my wife likes them. By the time you start getting beyond the 2000s, rom-coms are absolutely awful. They're at that point, like, they're legitimately kind of like movies. It's like foosball for sports ball for women at that stage. It's just this is a way of wasting about 2 hours of your life on something really inanely stupid and not really that well written. And now that the modern internet dating world has shown, no, they always wanted money. So remember, the rom-com exists because women didn't really want money. What they wanted was some mysterious alchemical fusion of events and qualities of the personality and then the rom-com would all come together, and the couple would go on to become middle class and boring. Or middle class and exciting, who knows. But now the rom-com is over because no one would believe any of it. It would be totally unbelievable, except for women. Women, you would always inevitably get stupid chicks, and probably gay men, to be into some kind of rom-com scene now. I'm betting actually what rom-coms will become is bad gay cinema. I honestly, I was sitting back thinking about, like, the past of romantic comedies, and then I'm like, what would be the future of romantic comedies? Like, who's still buying it? Who's still buying the whole, like, they totally love you thing, you know? And then I was like, yeah, I could see it. Like, you know, probably gay people are probably, you know, bedazzled by this idea of, like, we could get married and we'll be happy, you know, and like, yeah, you know, because you meet a lot of people like that, like, you know, and they're kind of, you know, libertarded, you know, that they're just, yeah, in a daze all the time, you know, high off their own fumes. And so but the rom-com's over because of the admission now so often across the internet and across these dating shows that it's without the money, it ain't happening. Without the income jack, it ain't happening. And now, because so many young men understand this is changing the nature of everything. And in a major way, this is something I have been thinking about, you know, how I talk about it's the reaction to something that you're looking for at a certain stage in, like, kind of the culture war and stuff like that. But really, the thing that's been most fascinating is the proliferation of young men trying to figure out how to date has now proliferated the rise of the right wing, men not having anything to do with women, and men joining the trades rather than going to college. Good work, ladies. That's fantastic. I had to think about this, and I'm like, I have to at some point thank young women that we could not have the rise of the far right wing without you all being candid about how you think any and every man is creepy until, like, he, like, rides by in a Bugatti or is wearing the right kind of shoes that you could tell he makes a lot of money, or he's wearing the right kind of watch that you could tell he makes the right kind of money, or he has a dog and camping gear, so you could tell he makes the right kind of money and he likes going camping, so he will take you camping because you love camping. I love it. Like, in completely, like, an attempt to have just a normal life. Young men have been sent to the extreme right wing, Andrew Tate's extreme right wing army of Chad bros, you know. I just fucking love it. And how much people are afraid of, I mean, like, Andrew Tate might as well be Mohammed himself. One day everyone's just gonna shave their beard and shave their head and be like, no, I'm a Tate. There will be two types. There will be an Andrew and a Tristan. The guys with the hair will be a Tristan. The guys without hair will be an Andrew. Both yoked to death. Every day I wake up, I do 500 push-ups, and then I kick down a tree. By that time, it's time for lunch, and I eat steak. You know? No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. That would be ridiculous. So, the other thing I was thinking about was how this interesting thing about with, Oregon, people who are parents in Oregon and lawyers in Oregon and stuff like that, Christian parents in Oregon, you need to actually organize around, make them prove gender and sex are two different things. Really, make them prove it. Make them cite whatever their source is that they get this science from, because they say it's scientifically sound information. Make them prove it. The minute you make them prove it, you will find the reaction will be unbelievable. One, they're going to go after you hammer and tongs. You keep after them. You say, I don't think they could prove that. I think this is just an assertion that a lot of people are making that they can't prove. In fact, I think this is the science behind it is make-believe. I don't think there exists any. And you say that publicly when you're like suing a school district over what they say is science, but it turns out it's not. And this really, because this is the end. Now, I'm hearing, was it Jeremy's publication, Publica, has started to do it. They're starting to discuss the Kinsey and money and all of these people who it's like, this was never science. This was a bunch of molesters and criminals with some knowledge of psychology who came up with this stuff after doing criminal molestation stuff to children. Like, these are horrible people. And, this is a monstrous field of pseudoscience. And that's it. And what's the thing that's very important is one day there's going to be people looking back at this. They're going to go, what is the deal with Western Oregon and abusing children? Western Oregon is the kind of place that if you are anywhere near like a place that feeds the poor, there's places that all they do is feed homeless youth. And there's also the issue of, and this was widespread, I heard teachers here say this, that some kids should be on Adderall and other behavior drugs. That's what the expertise of teachers in the Northwest is, that widespread use of behavior drugs, and they still are one of the worst districts in the country. They're in the 30s. And so it's this thing of, and all these people buy all this Kinseyite, crazy rainbow lockjaw stuff. And so yeah, a lot of people should get ready to come at them at the knowledge base part of it. Because it just really should be like that there is no actual scientific data behind this. And then if people knew, where did this supposed science come from, they find out, no, this was all like child molesters and murderers and stuff like that, and we just extrapolated this lunacy out of it. That it would change things quite significantly. So now, the other thing I was thinking about is, why is it that you're never seeing, when it comes to the whole, like, oh, I'm this, I'm that, we celebrate, oh, look, I'm a dude with a beard, blah, blah, blah. Why is it never a bunch of dudes who all suddenly say, I was a woman, I was born a little girl? Like, notice that there isn't the same kind of thing being done there. Like, you really don't see that much. Like, you don't see them advertising that much as this awesome thing of these girls who realize that they're actually boys inside. It's like, yeah, I'm a 5'2" man now. And it's because men have to be taller than women. There are certain qualities about a man's life that are inherently not really enjoyable. But one of the key things about it is we're built to make that which is not enjoyable at least tolerable. And this is very true. I mean, it's, people don't deal with the way that men's brains are built. We're built that we can take a lot of physical suffering and sort of make it into not as bad. We literally can almost hit a happy switch in our brain if we're trained to. This is why with somebody like Andrew Tate saying that depression doesn't exist, he is correct. Men's brains are built to switch off bad feelings. But most of the time you have to be trained to do this. It does require you in some way, shape, or form learning something about meditation, breath control, things like that. It's just the way that we're built. Otherwise, the actual physical, the nervous system, physical pain of moving the amount of muscle mass that we have and things like that, it would just be overwhelming. Like we would be overwhelmed by the amount of pain that would come through the nociceptors. So it's really this issue of like, no. Luckily, men have been bred by their forebears that their brain works that way, that we can just kind of be like, click, and then be happy again. If we know how. And so I'm finding it interesting. There isn't the kind of braggadocio in the whole transgender thing of look at all of these happy formerly females. That's key. That there is no female Jazz Jennings. There's nobody following somebody like that. And I think that's very interesting. Oh my gosh, this is just so fly. You don't see these very often. These are pretty rare nowadays. Just that type of build of like scooter. Those are really interesting. I think that I always have felt that there should be a more wide variety of the types of vehicles we see on the road. Yeah, but all right. Well, I'm going to get going. Wow, that's a big-ass butterfly. Wow, it's like the size of a bird. Holy crap. All right, later.